Hello, welcome to the Hypermobile Universe Head and Neck Series. We are on phase 2 today of stabilization of the cervical spine and also for conditions like Chiari malformation type 1. So hopefully you've gone through phase 1 and you are now ready for phase 2. I'm still using my TheraBand, same TheraBand that I was using before. And all we are going to do now is we're going to take our exercise with the band over the top of our head into an upright position. So some of you may have POTS and also just a lot more symptoms when you're in sitting. So this is definitely a progression. Going to pop that band over the top of our head. What we are adding and why this is a progression, aside from being upright and blood flow, is going to be our posture. So we now have posture involved in the equation. So I'm going to turn sideways on and we're just going to discuss posture a little bit. Whether you're standing or sitting, as I said in my video on head and neck, if I have a posture where I'm extremely curved in my upper back, my eyes, if I just let my head be in line with my spine there, are looking down. So naturally the brain wants you to look straight forward, so you will be lifting your head there. Now when I'm in that position, I've got a big curve in my neck going backwards, and that is called extension. Now, if I was just to leave my head where it is and I sit upright, I'm already looking up at the ceiling there. So if I was to stay in this posture, and as I do that, I can feel these muscles really tensioning. If I was to stay in this posture and lift my head to look up, I'm actually starting to look far too far in terms of mobility. So posture will be extremely important in terms of how much your cervical spine is moving, how much it's actually moving, as opposed to how much you think it's moving. And the same thing goes true if I'm arching my back. So if I arch my back here and I keep my cervical spine in line, then I'm actually looking up a little bit. So I'm going to end up dropping my chin and flattening my cervical spine. And I see a lot of people with very flat thoracic spines and flexion. This is called flexion when your head's down. Now, if I was going to look down at my phone and then I correct my posture, I am really overstretching the back of my neck, and that's stretching the spinal cord. That will be stretching the nerves and the nervous system, which will be bringing on more nerve tension, might bring on more symptoms. So our posture is going to be absolutely key in learning how to stabilize the cervical spine and to learn to move and function without bringing on so many symptoms. Now, the way to sit correctly is to start right from the bottom. So if you think that you've got two bones that you sit on, we'll call those your sit bones. You can just be on a chair and you can be rocking from side to side. If you can't feel them that way, you can pop your hands underneath and you'll start to feel those bones. So if you look at the bones of a pelvis, it's just the little tips of what we call the ischial tuberosities. Now, if I'm going to slouch back here, I'm going to be on the back of those bones. So I'm no longer really sitting on my bones. I'm more on fleshy tissue. And then I can think that I need to tip up. So I can just start to feel from here that I'm going onto something more firm. And that's going to be that bone. So I'm going to start to sit there. Now, if I'm somebody who overarches my back and I bring it that way, then I've lost those bones again and I'm sitting more forward on this sort of pubic area. So we don't want to be on that pubic area. We don't want to be in the coccyx. We want to be in between. So I'm just going to come back sitting on the bones there. Now, if I'm sitting here, my pelvis will be in a really good upright position. I know that that's my neutral pelvic position. And from there, I can be shifting my ribs forwards and back from there. I can't shift too far because I've fractured my spine, but I know that all of you watching this video will have the ability to shear it forwards and backwards from there. So what I want you to think is about the rib cage as a ring, and I want your ribs, like a ring, to sit over the pelvic ring. And then we think of the collarbone and the shoulder. That's another ring. And so I do see a lot of people that have really not curved so much in their back, but just at the top of the shoulders. And what you want to think there is that the collarbones are lifting up. This might be partly weakness in those neck flexors. So hopefully with some of the exercises we do, that will improve. But do your best to try and bring all of this into place. And your head and neck, a lot of times we get shearing forward. That increases a lot of tension in the muscles and shearing of those bones. So we want to think that we bring the whole of the jaw, and say just at the edge of your forehead and your jaw, that we bring that whole thing back. We're not just bringing the chin back. We don't want the chin tucks, and we're not lifting our chin. So we're trying to bring that our whole face back so it sits over those rings. That in itself might feel like incredibly difficult work. We really want to be doing all of this with the band over the top of our head. I've just kept it off so you could see my positioning, but I'm going to sit with the band here now. And I'm going to do what I did before on the ground, and I'm just going to draw the band down a little bit. Don't drag those shoulders down. And I'm going to lift my head up into the band, looking straight forward. So as I did before, I'm just going to start that, holding that for a very short period of time, and then I'm going to increase my time holding that band up. Once you feel like you know how to position your head with the band, you can start to use the band over the top of the head, maybe when you're working at a computer or a desk. So what I do in order that I don't have to use my hands to hold the band is I tie it. So you might need to adjust the length of the band. I suggest getting a long band online if you can. Find the one that's longest so that you can trim it down. And so you're going to make a circle with the band, and you're going to step through that circle with the knot in the back, placing that under the armpits so the knot will be in back so that it doesn't poke you anywhere. And then you are going to place that band over the top of your head. This will also help support the shoulders a little bit. So some of my clients who've had cervical instability in the past, they do a lot of upright exercises like this, and it helps stabilize the shoulders as well as gives them feedback for posture and head and neck. So once you have that band, you can be sitting and you can be doing little bits of work at the computer. I can still look down, but I'm not going to overly move my head. I'm going to share that movement with my neck, back and my neck, and coming up. And the same thing with looking up. You want to be careful when you look up that you don't let the band compress the head down. So just be very aware of that if you're doing this. So from just having it over the top of your head, you might start to try eating or drinking with that. It may improve your ability to swallow. So if you've got compression in the brainstem and you've lifted it off, you might find some functions really improve. So if you do, let me know in the comments. From here, we can start to look at things like getting out of the chair. So I'm going to allow myself to come forward on my chair. I'm going to lean forward and then stand upright from the chair. And when I come back down, I can do the same thing. So we're sitting here. So the next progression would be just starting to move around and do functional activities with the band. So I can start to go from sitting to standing up. And then I can start to just do normal activities like walking. Again, if you're challenged through POTS, it would be very interesting to see if this improves any of your symptoms in standing and sitting, because we know that the brainstem controls the autonomic nervous system, the base of the brain and the brainstem. And so some of your symptoms that you might think relate to POTS may actually be compression there. So it may not help because it may be that you've got POTS and you're just not getting the blood back up to your brain. But these conditions overlap. So some of my clients have really improved through just using the TheraBand over the top of the head. So that was phase 2 of my exercises for cervical instability, atlantoaxial instability, and Chiari malformation type 1. I use these exercises for my clients who don't present with instability as well, just because it's very good postural practice, and it's very good for holding the head up off the spine, and sometimes that can relax those suboccipital muscles and relax those shoulder muscles as well. So have a go with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I am back online doing my YouTube videos, so I will endeavor to answer you as quickly as possible. Subscribe and like and share the video if you think it will be beneficial to somebody you know. I will see you in phase 3.